Hello, my brothers and sisters. Welcome to the Coming Back Home podcast. I'm your host, Amber Rashid, and I full-heartedly invite you on this beautiful adventure. Each week, we will take a journey in exploring different topics in the world of plant medicine and natural healing remedies. My intention is to bring awareness and shed light onto what plant medicine is, helping shift the perspective that these sacred plants are not a drug, but rather a divine and intelligent medicine. It's a concentrated drop of nature that carries ancient wisdom and knowledge from thousands and thousands of years ago to help the collective conscious expand, grow, and heal. It's a calling back home to the essence of our soul, who we are, and who we are called to be in this lifetime. Welcome back, my brothers and sisters, to the 7th episode of the Coming Back Home podcast. I just wanted to take a moment to thank every single person tuning in, and for my family and my friends and my followers and my supporters, and to my spirit guides and to my guardian angels and to my ancestors, and to most importantly, God. Thank you so much for always being here for me, for providing me with unconditional love and support as I continue to embark on this journey. Recently, I've been doing my own healing, and there have been times when I don't want to show up, but I'm feeling all the love from everyone and everything around me to not only continue to show up for you guys, but for myself and for the inner child inside of me. And I just want to say I wouldn't be here without you guys, and it truly takes a tribe. And so I just feel very blessed and humbled, and I just wanted to say that I have the most gratitude for every single one of you, and I just have nothing but pure love. And just thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. So today I have a very special guest all the way from the UK. His name is Kapal De Selva. He's a shamanic energy healer, teacher, coach, and mentor with over 20 years of experience. He has a background in a variety of healing arts, including many shamanic practices, as well as inversion therapy, nutritional health, Reiki, tarot, myofascial release, massage, and the use of essential oils and other natural medicines. With his training and practices from all over the world, including India, Central America, and the Amazon rainforest, Kapal brings a wide range of skills to help a person to step up to their next levels of evolution, whether those steps are physical, health, mental, or emotional. Kapal believes that every human being is a powerful healer and that some people have recognized the fact while others have not. His recent work, the Shamanic Energy Healer Training Course, is designed to show people how they can heal themselves and others with energy and with intention. He also offers a one-to-one coaching session on a range of subjects, including health, wealth, and relationships, as well as spiritual guidance and awakening, healing, empath training, and pretty much everything else. Some of these sessions are done alongside his wife, Lily De Selva, who is also an amazing spiritual coach and healer. So with that being said, welcome Kapal to the Coming Back Home podcast. I'm so grateful and excited to have you here today, and for everyone that's listening to join in on our conversation about plant medicines and natural healing, as well as for myself to continue to learn more about what this beautiful world has to offer. So thank you so much for being here.
Sure. Firstly, thank you for having me here. It's really exciting to meet you and again and to share this moment with you. My name is Kapal. I'm a healer. I'm from London, born in a North London Jewish family. It's funny, we were talking earlier about being the black sheep of the family, and I think I was always the psychedelic sheep of my family. Always a little bit different. I didn't really have much of a social. I didn't really have friends at school. I grew up as kind of like at the edge of my society, my community in a way. Very solitary life. And it wasn't until I was like 16, 17, I started realizing that, actually I am a little bit different than everyone else. And I have this spiritual ideals, these spiritual realizations, and this desire to kind of connect with something much bigger than myself. And I do think differently than other people. Anyway, slowly, increments and incidences, crept along, and I found myself learning about healing and yoga and meditation and just acquiring all this knowledge from, different places in the world. And I found my home really within you could say shamanic culture. I remember having a vision when I was a child at school in history lesson. I was ignoring the class. I was staring out the window and I was having this vision of sitting in a circle of people all wearing feathers, like, North American Indians. We were singing, we were chanting. There was a fire in the middle of the space, and we were, in a ceremony. I didn't know what any of that was. It was just like, wow, yeah, cool. I'm there with, I thought it was daydreaming about Native Americans. Many years later, I find myself in Peru with native indigenous people working with ayahuasca and other plant medicines. And I thought, yeah, I've done it. I've arrived, but it wasn't quite right. And it wasn't actually until my first peyote ceremony. And I sat there in a circle with the feathers and the rattles and the drums and the fire. I was like, this was the vision I had when I was a child. I felt like I'd come home. I found it my path to study these cultures and to study these medicine ways and share it with other people. And the main way that I share it is through energy healing. I teach courses in shamanic energy healing, and I lean upon all these cultures that I've been working with, the Indian cultures, the North and the South and the Central American cultures, and different healing techniques I picked up from, my studies and my travels around the world. So if I were to say if you were to ask me what my purpose in life is to teach people how to do energy healing and to share these ways, to teach people to walk gently on the earth and to really feel that connection we have with the divine and embody that in our lives.
Oh, that's so beautiful. I love that so much. I love what you said. You felt like it was like coming back home, and that's exactly when I started walking in this path, which is very recently, but just being around it, it just felt so natural. And it was like, I just felt so comfortable and felt very familiar. So are there any medicines that you particularly work with? I know we were talking a little bit about Rapéh and Rapéh, for example. Would you be able to explain to any listeners, what is Rapéh or Rapéh?
Yeah, sure. Rapéh is one of my favorite medicines. It's from the Amazon rainforest, and it's used by the same types of people that would work with ayahuasca, that would work with kambo, that would work with many other of these kind of Amazonian plant medicines. If you listen to the Yawanawa people, they say Rapéh is their most powerful medicine, most important medicine. And always, whenever they say that, somebody always puts up their hand and says, well, what about ayahuasca? And they're like, nah, with ayahuasca, if you're in the force of the medicine, it's too much. The page, the shaman can come and he can, or she can do something to lessen the force of the medicine. They can control it in a sense. They can help people in that way. With Rapéh, no, you can't do that. You receive your medicine, you can take it on the chin or on the nose in this case. And nobody can do anything about that. You just have to be with that medicine. You have to ride that wave. It is their strongest, most powerful medicine in that sense. They also say, and I qualify this before I say it, a lot of people think that Rapéh can be used to prepare us to receive ayahuasca. I feel that's true in many ways. It can prepare the nervous system. It can prepare us mentally. It can put us in that kind of aligned, centered, Zen state, if you like, to receive the ayahuasca. And that can be very useful. The Yawanawa people, they say that ayahuasca is there to prepare us to receive the Rapéh.
Oh, interesting.
And that was a real interesting paradigm shift for me. Wow, okay. And I already had massive respect for Rapéh because I've seen the magic that it can do. But that I just got on my knees and, that really humbled me to realize actually this is, such a super powerful sacred plant medicine. Of course, it contains tobacco, which is like a master, teacher plant. Tobacco is there with every other ritual, more or less, in South and North America. They always have tobacco.
I wasn't aware of what you just told me either. So the Yawanawa, they're originally from Brazil?
They're from Brazil. They live on the Rio Jordão in the Acre region of Brazil. They're close neighbors to the Hunuquim people, who are also known as the Cashinão. I was going to say affectionately known, but that was a name given to them by the white people. So it's not what they call themselves. There's other tribes that live in the area as well. There's, I believe, the Nukini tribe are there. There's a few others. And they're all kind of have similar culture, but they have different languages, different dialects, and they work with the medicines in slightly different ways. And each tribe who makes Rapéh, they have a kind of a different style. So this is why when, people are receiving Rapéh, they've got a selection. Some of us have and you might have some Yawanawa, you might have some Cashinão, you might have some Nukini, you might have some Kutanawa, the different types. And these are made differently by the different tribes. And of course, each medicine person has his own recipe as well.
And do they have their own prayers that go into each like Rapéh that they make too? Just like, like when they're doing like making the ayahuasca and different medicines?
Making of any kind of medicine is a very sacred ritual, and it needs to be done with clarity and focus and the right intention. It is known that the energy of the person, not only who serves the Rapéh, but the person who makes the Rapéh, their spirit is invested in this medicine. So you wouldn't want Rapéh that's made commercially, and that is available. You can buy commercially made Rapéh, but those who are sensitive will feel the difference. Yeah, it's very different.
Yeah, I think I really liked what you mentioned, because I think it's really important. Like the person who's also making is putting their own energy into it. And that's also like the energy exchange. That's why for me, I think it's so important for studying, knowing where the medicine comes from, what are the prayers and the intentions set in it. Because like anything in life, there's always the light and the dark, or the good and bad. And you don't always know what someone's intentions are.
And it only takes a little bit of light to dispel the darkness. There's usually a lot more darkness than there is light. In, these kind of settings like, Brazil, Peru, and the Amazonian, tribal cultures that are becoming very popular for us kind of quote unquote Westerners to go and work with them and have our shamanic experiences, if you like. There's so many more showmen than shaman. You will have lots of people who will, come to my place and drink ayahuasca, $100 a person. And they're not shamans. They're not medicine carriers. They just, buy a bottle from, some dude that maybe cooked it up in his back garden. And, they're there to take advantage of tourists. And there's so many more people like that than there are genuine, maestros and pages. And it's this concern, people buy medicine from the markets, in Peru, and it's the same with Rapéh. There's a market in Pucallpa near where my maestro lives in Peru. And, I'm familiar with the guys who have the stalls. There's there's a shamanic row of stalls, and they sell different medicines. And, you can buy your Palo Santo and your Copal. You could buy, pipes for serving Rapéh and all the different things. And they're, hey, Copal, come on, I got some new Rapéh. And I'm like, I open the jar, dude, that's not Rapéh. No, it's Rapéh. It's like, no, I don't know what that is, but that's not Rapéh, And it's people have to make a living, but it's, as you say, it's tricky. That's the word you use, I believe. It's tricky. We have to be very discerning, where we get our medicines from. I think it's very important.
Yeah, I totally resonate with that. And the other thing I really like about you, as well as you don't call yourself a shaman, I think it's really, like what you just were talking about, it's really easy. There's a lot of showmen out there, and it's really, if you're going to walk this path, like it's very, I think the humbleness and like taking the ego out, and it's just, as you were saying, the world of plant medicine is becoming very popular, and I feel like a lot of people are drawn to it, but it's just being aware of like those different aspects. But for Rapéh, what are some of like the primary reasons like someone would use it, for example?
Well, let's go back to the Yawanao people. They use Rapéh twice a day, once in the morning to pray and to align themselves and to prepare themselves for what they have to do in the day. And once when they come back from their work in the forest, to clear and to ground, and again to pray. Of course, it has other medicinal uses, and it's very good for like if there's something traumatic happens. I don't know, a jaguar walks through the village and freaks people out. They'll receive some Rapéh to calm the nervous system. Someone falls out of a tree, receives an injury, they'll receive some Rapéh. Someone is sick, they'll receive some Rapéh. Someone wants to receive a healing on behalf of someone else, they might take a mammoth dose of Rapéh and go through a healing crisis, if you like, to use a Western terminology, on behalf of the person who they want to receive a healing for. There's many different reasons why one might use Rapéh, but twice a day generally is what the Yawanao people do.
So for like during ceremony, for example, would they, because I know some people do Rapéh right before doing ayahuasca, do they do the same thing, or do they do it like after ayahuasca? Or because you were saying like Rapéh is like...
When you say ceremony, you're referring specifically to ayahuasca ceremonies?
Yeah, ayahuasca ceremony.
So in my experience, they would have a point during the ayahuasca ceremony where, okay, now it's time for Rapéh. And,
okay.
Anybody who wants to come up can receive some Rapéh, and then they go back and so there's like, they receive the ayahuasca first, they get into, the cleansing and everything that the ayahuasca does. And then, okay, now this is time for you to really focus on the work that you're doing in this ceremony. And we're going to use the força, the power of the Rapéh to do that work, to make that prayer, to cleanse whatever it is, to shake off those energies, to receive that healing, to, expand, whatever it is that we're doing. The Rapéh is bang, that does that. That's, it's almost like the ayahuasca creates the set and the setting for the healing to take place. And the power for that healing is the força do rapé, the rapé medicine.
Okay, yeah, because I've just only really heard for rapé or people using it to like open their third eye, but I love I'm just learning a lot what you're saying about how rapé is their main medicine and how typically.
I mean, I have served a lot of rapé in my time, and if someone comes to me for rapé, the first time I serve them a very small amount, like a small pea, and they would divide that into each nostril. Because I don't think it's helpful for someone to have their first experience with a medicine like rapé. I say to people, say, well, what does it feel like? I say, well, it kind of feels like being shot in the face twice. So, the first time, I think it's worth having a gentle experience. So I give people a gentle experience, see how they react, how they respond, how it is for them. Some people love it. Some people hate it. I don't think it's worth giving people like a massive. I know people that serve ayahuasca and it's like their thing. They like to give people the biggest dose possible and just see them absolutely floored. And I really don't like that way of working. And I've seen people do that with rapé, and I just think that's cruel. So I start people off with a small dose, and I'll let them build up their tolerance and receive it well. But if you're used to it, you're gonna make it a little. I mean, this is an audio thing, but you make a little mound on your hand. It's like the size of the end of your finger, your little finger. But flattened off. So what's that? Maybe like quarter of a teaspoon. Would be a sufficient dose, and you divide that amongst two nostrils, and unlike that. However, the Yawanawa came to visit, and this was in London, and they had a rapé circle, and they said, we know that a lot of people here are serving rapé, receiving and serving rapé, and that's fine, it's okay. But in our culture, before you serve rapé, you receive an initiation. And if anyone would like to receive that initiation here, then you're very welcome to receive that initiation. Now, I got to say, not many people put their hand up to receive this initiation. But I'd not met most of the people in the room. But this one guy who I'd had a very brief interaction with, I don't know, somehow he came over to me and he knew I was thinking about it. He said, and he gave me some advice about receiving the initiation. I hadn't said anything to him about it. It was like, okay, that's cool. All right. Anyway, the protocol for this initiation was you receive a massive dose of rapé. I'm talking like half a teaspoon in each nostril, followed immediately by another massive dose of rapé.
Oh, wow.
So you basically got a teaspoon of rapé up each nostril.
So what was did you end up getting initiated or did you go through with it?
Well, that was the initiation. If you survive that, you're initiated. If you don't survive it, well, try again next life kind of thing.
Yeah.
Whew, that was intense. I mean, I threw up and threw up and threw up and threw up. And I must have thrown up like 7 times. I was sweating. My clothes were drenched. And then I was shivering. And I wish I'd brought a change of clothes with me. It was intense. The advice the guy gave me was, if you feel the urge to blow your nose, don't. You can wipe, but don't blow. And wait until the experience is finished before you blow your nose. That was the advice he gave me. It was good advice. And that's how I work with rapé. It's like, don't take it and then blow your nose. Yeah. Because then you're not going to receive the effect of the medicine. That's like, taking a tablet and then throwing up afterwards. You're not going to digest it. It's not going to work. So, this was good advice. But wow, yeah, that was very strong.
I've had an experience with rapé where I've definitely purged. And after that experience, I was like, it gave me so much more respect for the medicine. Because I think some people, I just see people not consciously using it. And I think that my connection with Rapéh is not that strong as other medicines that I've been working with, but just from my intuition and seeing things, I don't know, I feel like there should be more respect around this medicine. And that's something I would ask you. What are some of the like misuses that you've seen or misconceptions about Rapéh that you could explain to people?
Yeah, okay. Well, I mean, the first thing is it's not cocaine. So don't treat it like a recreational substance just for fun. This is a serious medicine. If you use it appropriately, it will give you so many benefits. Health benefits, mental health benefits, emotional benefits, spiritual benefits, clearing your energy field, grounding, centering. It can teach you so many things. But if you play with it, it will make you sick. And the majority of people that I'd seen who work with Rapéh, no, that's not fair. I've seen a lot of people playing with it. And not because they're intentionally just mucking around, but because they've not been taught any better. There's a lot of people that, they start going to ayahuasca ceremonies, and then they love it. They love the culture. They love the whole idea of it. They love the ethos, and they just want to get involved more and more and more. And they see people receiving Rapéh, and they're like, oh, okay, I want to do that. And they all start serving each other Rapéh in ceremonies and serving themselves, blah, blah. And, it's almost like something that you do when you're bored, or, it's like popping out for a fag. I'm just going out for a smoke, mate. I don't smoke anymore, so I'm going to have some Rapéh. Yeah. And it's like, no. And just watching the way people serve each other, like, it's like, no, calm down. So I actually started teaching workshops in how to work with the medicine, how to receive it, how to serve it, quantities, what's appropriate, what's not appropriate, how to set intentions, how to work with the spirit of the medicine. Just so that we can just come into alignment with the intention. It takes so long to make this medicine. I went to a friend's house and, he'd assemble all the ingredients to make some Rapéh. Got everything sent over from Brazil. We had like mapacho tobacco. I haven't got any here I can show you. But like it comes in like, I don't know if you've seen it. It's like a big fat chorizo, a big sausage of tobacco, cured. And so we, chop it up and as powder it, with a mortar and pestle. And then we take the barks of different medicinal trees and we burn them down to an ash, and then we mix them together and whatever other ingredients need powder. And it took us all day. And of course, all day, we're not just chatting and shooting the breeze and watching videos. We are praying and we're chanting and we're singing and we're focusing our intention, and we're grinding by hand. It's exhausting. It takes a long time and a lot of focus. And we made a little bowl, just like, like a small soup bowl, cereal bowl like that, just half a bowl, If you imagine that it takes that long, and then it needs to be filtered, through a cloth to get it super, super fine. It's a long, long process. And if you're just like, oh yeah, I'm just going to go and have a quick hit, that's not proportionate to the energy that's gone into making the medicine. And why does that much energy go into making the medicine? It's because it's very, very powerful and very sacred, but it's also very, very subtle. And we need to open our awareness to appreciate the finer subtleties of what this medicine can teach us. We're working with spirits of the Amazon, and they've bothered to travel all the way here with their medicine.
Yeah, like 100%.
It's a big thing, So we really have to honor these medicines and the people who make them and the cultures they come from and the spirits of the plants, and treat it as something sacred.
Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate. Yeah, I was just talking to a friend today about that. I was saying, it's a humbling experience to be even sitting here with these medicines. And for me, life is not all about taking, it's about giving. And these medicines are not exactly what you said, just like, for me, honestly, not recreational, not just like what you're saying, like, oh, I'm just going to go do some Rapéh because like, I'm bored or whatever. It's like and intention is everything. Even when you're walking in life, you're drinking water, you're getting up in the morning and just giving that gratitude. I think, we live in a society where we're just so used to taking all the time and we don't even think why we're doing, what is the reason behind it. And
we don't ever take Rapéh. We receive Rapéh.
I love that.
And when I heard that was a big paradigm shift for me. Even when you're serving to yourself, we're receiving the medicine, okay, we're serving it to ourselves, but we're receiving it. We never take Rapéh. And I think it's important to think about this with all the medicines. And the rightful place for a medicine of this caliber is on an altar. And you think about what else you might put on an altar. We look at Indian culture, they're very expert at altars. They put God on the altar, their deity. Something that is on an altar is something that is super highly respected. It's almost worshipable. So we put these medicines on an altar in these shamanic cultures because they have this power, that goes beyond the human power and the human, lifespan. It's like super, super sacred.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. And thank you so much for that clarification. Earlier, you said something about the Rapéh can make you sick. So could you clarify that a little bit?
Yeah, sure. I'll give you an example. I'm not going to mention any names. I have a friend who he used to be quite a big smoker and he stopped smoking. Incidentally, if people really want to have a relationship with tobacco, like that's different to give up tobacco, give up smoking than it is to change your relationship with tobacco. I mean, we could talk about this another time, but anyway, he stopped smoking, but he kind of replaced his cigarettes with Rapéh, and he was overdoing it, you know, like he went from 20 cigarettes a day to 20 hits of Rapéh a day. And, you know, and that's just to get a nicotine hit, a very inappropriate use of the medicine, you know, and I pointed this out to him, you know, numerous occasions, you know, and in the end I said to him, look, dude, I'm not going to sell you Rapéh. You know, I don't want to be complicit in this. You're going to do yourself an injury, you know? And so he went and bought it from somebody else. And then one day he told me that, he was feeling really sick in his stomach, and he went to the doctor, and the doctor checked him out, and the doctor said, you smoke, right? And he's like, no, I don't smoke. I said, really? He said, yeah, I don't smoke. So that's very strange, because, you know, what's going on in your stomach is something that's typical of people who smoke a lot. And then it clicked for him. It's not smoking. It's the Rapéh, it's the tobacco. And yeah, it made him sick. And it took him a while to clear that.
I really believe that these medicines can feel when they're being respected and when they're not.
Yeah, they are spirits.
Yeah, they all carry their own spirits. So what is it, like, if someone, for like example, like me, wanted to do Rapéh, what does, or come to like a Rapéh ceremony, or even, well, I guess that's two things. What does a typical Rapéh ceremony look like? And if I just wanted to like do a meditation and like set my intention, what would be an idealistical way to sit with this medicine?
All right, let me answer your second question first, if I may.
Okay.
For me, the ideal way to sit with Rapéh is in stillness. It's totally okay to have some music. You know, there's very appropriate. I mean, you can find music on YouTube. You know, like the Huni Queen, the Kashinawa. You know, have many Yawanawa have many chants for the Rapéh. You know, this would be very appropriate. You know, put the music on and listen to the chants and serve yourself some Rapéh and sit in stillness and observe in meditation the effect of the medicine on the body. You can feel it moving energetically through your body. What is it clearing? Where do you feel it? What is it saying to you? If it has anything it wants to share, you know, message-wise, it can speak to you. You know, it can show you things in your body. If you have certain pains, certain illnesses, it can help to clear those things with your intention, your focus. I like to have a twofold intention. You know, we always serve the left nostril first, and this is for what we would like to release from our life. You know, if you want to get rid of an illness, if you want to, you know, overcome a habit or release a pattern or a conditioning or something like that, this is left nostril. The right nostril is, you know, now the cup is empty. What would you like to fill it with? What would you like to call into your life? What are you praying into your life? What would you like to fill that space with? We cleared something out. Okay, there's space. What would you like to replace it with? And then just sit in meditation and be with that and allow it to do what it's going to do. And as I said earlier, you know, you don't blow your nose until the effect is worn off. It can be, you know, 15 minutes. It could be 45 minutes. It could be longer, but, you know, wipe your nose if you need to. You don't want to dribble all over your clothes. Never swallow with spit. You know, if it comes into your throat, spit it out like that. When it's finished, you feel it's passed, blow your nose, clean your nose out, drink some water. That's fine. And a Rapéh ceremony, you know, should look something like that, but perhaps with several people, like a circle of people. You know, there'll be a page or someone who is serving the medicine who would go around, you know, they would open this. I mean, everyone's got their own style, you know. If I hold a ceremony for Rapéh, you know, we come in, we sit down, smudge everyone, we open the space with prayer, intention. You know, maybe everyone says their name when they introduce themselves. And okay, so have you received the medicine before? Do you know anything about it? Maybe it warrants some explanation. And then we can go around, we can serve the medicine. Everyone has their experience. Maybe we serve a second time, depending. And then we close the ceremony, give thanks to the spirits, give thanks to the medicine, the people who made it.
I think that even when you're sitting by yourself, it's important to open the space with prayer and close the space with prayer. And yeah, I think that I just really appreciate what you were saying. Yeah, and like I said, I'm learning so much myself. So this is really good. So study with the Peruvian traditions of ayahuasca. So what specific traditions have you studied with, or what tribes have you studied with?
My main maestro, I would say, is from the Cocoma tribe, from Peru. They live in the area around Pucallpa, and which is kind of in the middle of the forest, middle of the country, pretty much. And I've been visiting with him for over 13 years now. And I'll go and I'll spend a month or 2 or 3 with him in the forest. And yeah, we work with ayahuasca, but it's like, they say like cannabis it's a gateway to other drugs. Well, to us, ayahuasca is a gateway to other plants, other trees. And we work with that. I mean, ayahuasca can help us to heal a lot. It can teach us a lot. Don't get me wrong. The spirit of this medicine has been my guru for, a decade and a half. I've learned a lot.
Yeah.
All of the work that I'm doing around energy healing, most of it has been taught directly by her in ceremony, where I've been in service as a healer, and I've given her my body to be of service, and she's moved me around the space, and so she has been very much a teacher for me. But in that setting, in the Amazon rainforest, when I'm working with my maestro, with Enrique, we have a ceremony to kind of open my time there. And in the ceremony, Enrique will kind of have a look at me, with the medicine, like, okay, I know what you need. Or maybe some trees will come and they'll say, I'd like to work with Kapal.
Oh, wow.
And Enrique, yeah, okay, cool, that works. And in the morning, he'll say to me, okay, I know what tree you're going to work with this time. Okay, your plant is Ayuma, or it's Ahoskira rather, or whatever the tree is, And then we'll make that medicine, We'll go out to the forest, we'll find a tree, whether it's a root or a branch, the bark or whatever. We'll make the medicine, and it can be a bottle. And I'll take my bottle and I go off into the forest, into a little hut in the middle of the forest by myself. Perhaps someone will bring me my food, twice a day, or perhaps I'll have a sack of rice and a bunch of plantains, and I'll cook my own food. And I'll sit there alone.
Sorry, is that doing a dieta?
This is a dieta, yeah. Yeah, so dieta is basically fasting, no salt, no sugar, no processed food, no oils, very simple, bland food. So that it almost has no vibration. It's just to keep the body ticking over. And then the medicine that we ingest, we really feel the vibration, the energy of that particular medicine. And then, but the ayahuasca is almost like, introduce me. Okay, this is my friend Ayuma. Come on, meet this tree. And, and I'll work with Ayuma for, however many weeks. And, this tree will come into my dreams and speak to me through songs and whoa, just amazing. I mean, it's not psychedelic in the same way ayahuasca is, but the dreams are it's like very florid imagery is like, like being in IMAX, that kind of intensity of dreams. And yeah, they teach, each of these trees to teach.
That's what I've heard from some other people that have done dietas. Their dreams are very profound and very very visual. So how long, the dieta that you're talking about, how long is a typical dieta? I
mean, yeah, it's very difficult to say. I mean, it depends on time, place, circumstance, the shaman, the person who is the dietero. A dieta can be 3 days. It can be, a year. I know a guy who drank ayahuasca twice a day, every day for 10 years alone in the forest.
Wow.
Yeah. Amazing guy. No doubt. You dedicate a decade of your life to anything, you're going to get good at it. This guy dedicated his life to studying, everything that he could learn from ayahuasca in 10 years. Wow, amazing. Must have been quite a culture shock, coming to, out of the forest after all of that.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure integration just have been intense.
But for me, my dietas have been, typically a couple of weeks to a month.
Okay. And what has been your favorite dieta that you've done? Or like the one that you found? Yeah, I know that's probably a hard question, but what is like one of the most profound dietas you...
I mean, they're all, every time I go to the Amazon and do dietas like that, it is a life-changing experience. Every time. So I could pick one. Enrique said to me, I got a great tree for you. I was like, okay. He said, this tree is called Sapote Renako. I'm like, okay, what is its, what's his medicine? He said, this tree will teach you whatever you want to know. So he gave me a beautiful tambo. I mean, this was almost like a house, by the river. Where we go, there's a hot steaming river. I'm just setting the scene, right? There's a hot steamy river. Uh-huh. So because of the steam, I mean, the water is so hot that you want a cup of tea, you put your mug in the water and you drop your herbs in.
Wow.
And you've got tea like that. It's super hot. Don't fall in this river. Don't fall in there. Every now and then a duck or a chicken falls in. That's dinner for the people for the night. Yeah. Game over. You fall in this river. Maybe not as a human, but Yeah. Wow. Small animals.
And this is in Peru?
This is in Peru. Anyway, he gave me this beautiful tambo very close to this river. And what that meant for me was that no mosquitoes, because they don't like the steam.
Yeah.
So this was a real luxury tincture for me. Right. And, I set my intentions at the beginning of the dieta as, Salvatore, thank you so much for, agreeing to work with me for this. It was only 2 weeks, this fortnight. I'm really grateful to be working with you. Enrique said you'd teach me anything I want to know. I would like some more medicine songs that I can play in ceremony and that I can sing in circles, stuff like that. I'd be really grateful for that. I had a little, charango with me. And I said, I also want to learn more about energy healing because that's my thing. First 5 days of the dieta, 5 new songs, which is like super profound for me. I'm not a prolific writer by any stretch of the imagination, but 5 new songs in 5 days. And I like them, for me anyway. They're nice songs, I like them. And then after that, he was like, okay, the tree talking to me in my head, he says, okay, this module 2 of your course that you've written? I'm like, yeah. He said, it's rubbish. I'm like, what do you mean it's rubbish? Like, we're going to rewrite that module. I'm like, huh? Yeah. Get your pen out. I'm like, really? Yeah, get your pen out. The tree said to me, get your pen out. Okay. Wow. And he's dictating to me and I'm writing, this module. And by the end of the dieta, I had, as well as all my, other work that I was doing, the meditating and the singing and everything else, he'd given me a module of my course. And it was like, wow.
I feel like I need to go do this dieta.
I mean, it's amazing. Really amazing.
Wow.
So, that was pretty profound. That was something else. To have like a full-on conversation with a tree spirit.
I don't want to say my experience is anything close to what you experienced, but one time when I was on Wachuma, I was talking to the tree and I was like telling the people in my group, I was like, this tree is not happy with us. And they were like, why? And I was just like chanting, and they thought I was crazy. But yeah, I love trees so much. And I really believe like the forest and everything is just so alive and nature's always talking to us. And it's when we're in that stillness, we can listen to it. And it's so beautiful. Oh, I haven't done a dieta yet. I feel called to do one. I just don't know which one.
Well, next time I go, he's the only person I've done dietas with in the forest because I really landed on my feet with this guy. There's so many bogus shamans out there. And it's a minefield. You find somebody good, just stick with them, And there's no way I could learn in my lifetime everything I could learn from working with Enrique. He's just amazing. But like, why would I go anywhere else? And I'm super happy to recommend him to people. He's not a famous guy. He's not interested in being famous. For him, it's his work. He loves it. It's his path. It's his life. And he's sharing his passion,
So after you do a dieta, are there specific things that you're supposed to do after? Because I've heard, what does integration look like after a dieta, or some of the things that you're supposed to?
It's what we call the post dieta, and it's different for every plant that you work with, and it's different for every dieta, and it might be slightly different from curandera to curandera. They might have different protocols. Shamanism is very much an experiential thing. There's no rule book, there's no handbook, there's no guidebook, there's no educational facilities to learn to be a shaman. You go out there in the forest by yourself and the plants and the trees teach you. Someone can say, okay, if you do this, you'll have an experience, which is what Enrique does. He said, if you go out here and stay in this hut and you drink this tree juice for a month, you'll have an experience. I don't know what your experience is going to be, but it'll be something, So that's how we learn. We learn by experience, which is why there's so many different protocols with different tribes and different people, because they learn different things in their lineage of experience. But it is known widely that some plants and trees that you work with, the protocol is very strict. There's like a strict dieta and the not so strict dieta. And if you do a strict dieta with a plant that requires a strict dieta, if you break or cut your diet, there are potentially some very, very severe consequences.
And what do those consequences look like?
Anything from like horrible skin conditions that never go away, losing of one's mind, just feeling ill for a while. You can just feel ill.
Are there ways to say someone breaks one of those things? Is there a way? How would one recover from that? Do you come back and do another dieta again?
As far as I'm aware, and I've never broken a dieta that badly, but you have to humble yourself before that spirit and apologize. And it's like if you offend someone, it's like if you really offend somebody, you have to make up for that. You have to, it's like just because it's a plant doesn't mean it doesn't have feelings. It's a spirit. It's a conscious being. And, you make an agreement. Okay, you do this dieta. I'm going to give you this, but you need to respect certain boundaries. And if you don't respect those boundaries, there's consequences. And if you overstep the boundaries, and you have to make up for it somehow. Often you have to redo the dieta. You lose all the benefit of all the dieta. So you could do a month-long dieta, And then you could, leave the forest and go off and even unintentionally, let's say you go off and you have a salad somewhere, but they haven't washed the plate up properly. And there's some pork residue. Like, you don't eat pork after a dieta. There's some pork residue on the plate and you eat that. That can cut your diet, on a serious dieta. That'll make you really sick. So you just have to know what you're getting yourself into before you do it, and just do it really, really seriously and properly. One of the reasons I like to stay in the forest for my post-dieta is that while I'm there, I'm not going to cut the diet, because the whole lifestyle there is built around doing these dietas, and you can just do it properly.
And what are some, on a dieta, is it common to purge?
No, it depends.
Like vomit?
No, not really. I mean, it depends.
Not really, no? Okay.
No. I mean, there are certain purgatives. You might do a purge before you do a dieta. So, like, sometimes what we do is we'll go out to the forest and we'll have a ayahuasca ceremony to open the retreat, if you want to call it that. And then before we do our dieta, we'll work with other plants. Maybe we'll work with tobacco, or there's another plant called Wankawisacha, and that will make you throw up every half an hour for 6 to 8 hours. You drink a lot of water, you wait, you hang out, and you throw up, and then you drink some more water, you wait half an hour, and you throw up. You do that 16 times.
Yeah, and that's just for cleansing, right? To make, cleanse everything out and open.
Yeah, generally speaking, we need to cleanse the body before we do the spiritual work. So a lot of people that come to do dietas, the first thing they work with is plants, because the plants are there to cleanse and heal the body, cleanse the body. And then once the cleansing and the healing is done to sufficient level, then you can work with trees and you can receive your education. So it's like that. Most times the dietas start off with working with plants.
And going back to, so what are some of the benefits that one can receive from doing a dieta? Or like, even for yourself, what are some of the most beneficial things that you've become aware of after doing a dieta?
Well, for me, mostly I've been working with trees rather than plants. So, my connection with spirits, my connection with nature, my ability to receive knowledge and wisdom from the plants or the trees that I'm working with. Some of them, like one particular dieta, it was Wakaranako. That was really about strengthening my energy field, my light body, and my immune system, and just making my energy field strong, so resilient, resistant to anything unwanted in terms of, energies. Others just, like I worked with Bobinzana once, and she was very much about like being really rooted and grounded and earthed and connected with the center of the earth, and yet able to kind of reach up and connect with the spirit realm and the heavens and receive this wisdom, like almost like making my body an antenna to receive, wisdom from higher realms. It's like, but yeah, every tree is different. Every plant is different. They all have their own medicine, their own. And it's also, you can ask me about my experiences and I can tell you about my experiences, but you could work with the same plants and trees and have completely different experiences. Very, very personal. And it's almost like, people read up and they go on the internet and they Google search, what's ayahuasca ceremony like? And they read all these experiences and they go, based on other people's experience, decide if they want to do it or not. And it's foolish, because everybody's experience is completely different. And if you base your experience on somebody else's experience, that's crazy.
I resonate with that, because I always say that someone can try to put their experience into words, but they'll never be able to. And that's what I also, sometimes when people are asking about, like thinking about going to do ayahuasca, for example, I tell them, don't read anything, don't look up anything, just my best advice is to go with an open heart and an open mind, because also I think sometimes when people read too much into other people's experiences and things online, they go with an expectation of how it should be, and it just doesn't allow, and that's the thing, the medicine doesn't give you what you want, it gives you what you need. So I really resonate with what you're saying there.
I would just add a little caveat to that. So the only research you want to do is into the person who's holding space. Who is this person? What is their qualification to be sitting behind the altar? Are they trained? Do they have a lineage? Have they been taught? Can they see into other dimensions? Because if they can't, there's worlds of other things happening in unseen realms. And if you're not aware of those, as a space holder, are potentially putting the people who come to your ceremony at risk. And I'm talking risk of subtle entities, parasitic entities. And the astral realm is full of them. And people come with their own entities. and they get them purged, and someone else picks them up, and people serve each other rapéh in ceremonies, and they're passing trauma around from one person to another. It's like the person who's holding space has to know what they're doing. So check out the person who's holding the space. Find out what their qualifications, find out what their training is, what their experience is. How long have they been doing it? How long were they training before they were given the authority, the go-ahead to hold ceremony by the person that's training them, by their master?
Yeah, and who gave them, and also who gives them authority to serve the medicine? I'm just resonating with what you're saying so much, because I've seen things from my own experience, how when setting is not taken into account, how it can just go completely the other way. And it's like what you said, like you're dealing with people's souls here, and like you're opening to other dimensions and things, and it's just, you need to know who you're sitting with and if they have the capacity to hold energy and how long. And so thank you so much for that. I really appreciate that. And I think that's super, super important. And that's, yeah, I resonate with that a lot. And part of my podcast is just bringing awareness to that, because like we said earlier, all this stuff is becoming very popular, and there's a lot of people think that they can hold the space, but a lot of people also have not also done the inner work and don't have just don't have the capability to be doing that. And it just is what it is.
I actually think that most people who are holding space with medicines like ayahuasca and wachuma really ought not to be. And I think the same is true with Kambo. How many people out there have gone out there and done a 2-week training course to serve this medicine, and then are going out there like they're qualified shamans to hold space? Most of these people shouldn't be holding space for, just a meditation, let alone, a powerful medicine ceremony like that. It's become too trendy. It's become too fashionable. The shaman is the new rock star. Everyone wanted to be a rock star. Now everyone wants to be a shaman because it gets them power. It gets them credibility. It gets them girls or whatever, It's like, it's not cool. It's not cool. As you say, you're messing with people's soul. It's not just like, you're going to mess someone up this lifetime, which is bad enough, but you can do damage that can go way beyond.
I feel like that's also why, like, if you really want to walk this path, it's important to, just like with anything in life, if you're going to go be a CEO of a company, you got to have experience first. Like, you're not just going to go like it's beautiful to have a dream and that stuff and have a vision, but I mean, you got to take the steps to get there. It's not just like fast lane,
education,
it's the same
experience,
thing.
The right qualities.
It's the same thing.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So thank you so much, Kapal. I really enjoyed this so much because I've just learned a lot, and I think everyone that's listening will be able to really benefit from all the information that you've shared. And for anyone that's listening that would like to work with you or just learn more about what you're doing, where can they find you?
The work that I do is I teach energy healing, and I have a course that's run called the Shamanic Energy Healer Training, where we can all channel energy healing. Every human being, we're genetically hotwired to channel energy for healing. And in the same way that I believe that everyone can swim, some people believe they can't, but if they take a deep breath and you push them in, they're going to float, right? So the difference between floating and swimming is just learning a few techniques and how to breathe. And it's the same with energy healing. It's a few techniques and learning how to breathe. And I teach people this. And I really foresee a world where energy healing is taught in every school in the world, something that we should learn as kids. So I'm doing my best to fill that gap, certainly with adults, and teaching how to channel energy, because it's easy and it's powerful and it connects us with the divine. And it's useful. It's helpful in our community. We need more healers. We absolutely need more healers. So I teach this. I have a website. It's kopaldeselva.com, my name.com. And you can find me there. You can find me on Instagram, same name. Just Google me. You can find me. I'm not hiding.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'll for sure share your website for anyone that's listening, and the information on my own website and Instagram as well. But thank you so much again, Kapal. We need more people like you in the world who's upholding tradition and just bring awareness, because I think I value that so much, and I can see that you do as well. And I really look forward to having more conversations with you.
Likewise. Thank you so much. Been an absolute pleasure to be here with you. Bless your life. Thank you for the work that you do, this kind of bringing awareness to people about how to work with these medicines in a really truly sacred way, and bringing people to your podcast who have, years of experience and they know what they're doing and they can share that wisdom with people who are interested in this path. It's a really valuable thing that you're doing, Amber. I'm very impressed, very grateful. And yeah, keep doing what you're doing. It's beautiful work. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Kapal. Thank you so much for taking the time to tune in to the Coming Back Home podcast. You can connect with me on social media platforms such as Instagram at Coming Back Home. Please like, share, and subscribe for more conscious, heartfelt, and healing content. If this episode resonated with you, please leave a review of my podcast on Apple or the website comingback.home.co. Remember, it's a calling back home to the essence of who we are and who we are called to be in this lifetime. May God always bless and guide you, my brothers and sisters, and lots of love and light as always.